denoted by the star on their head. 4 blockers. You'll notice one of the blockers does have a stripe on their helmet. That is the pivot. We've got refs on both the inside and outside. That whistle means we are about to start the fun. And we are off. We have 187 Lexicutor from Minnesota on the track for Minnesota, and we've got number 10 Frida from Arizona. Both jammers pushing through their respective tripods as we are trying to get a lead jammer on the board for this first game for Minnesota All-Stars. Frida pushing towards the top of the pack. Lexi working her way through it from the back. We have the full complement of both teams as far as blockers go. Lexi getting recycled from the back. Remember, if you get hit out of bounds, you must enter the track behind the person who hit you out. And we do have number 10 Frida for Arizona Roller Derby out for first for lead. Lexi still working on that initial pass. We've got Frida coming in for her first scoring pass. Minnesota tripod in the back ready to meet her. Lexi is through on their initial. Is going to put the cap back on and come around for some points of her own. Frida working towards top of that pack. And Frida is going to go ahead and call the jam. So that is 2 points on the board. We do have a blocker apiece in the penalty box. 2 points on the board for Minnesota Roller Derby, 4 points on the board for Arizona Roller Derby.
Okay, and the jam is off. We have 1618 Centripetal Force for Minnesota Roller Derby and 313 West Coast Mafia for Arizona Roller Derby. And it looks like the jammer for Arizona Roller Derby is getting recycled, and lead jammer is called. That is Centripetal Force for Minnesota Roller Derby. We had a star pass to number 7 from Arizona Roller Derby. Number 7, that is Skatey Katie.
Yeah. You did great. Yeah. And you did great too. All right. We have a clear penalty box. All 4 blockers from each team are on the track.
What a great way to start a jam.
We have number 112 for Minnesota. That's Whoopsie Daisy going up against Jaws Breaker for Arizona, number 84. And that is a quick lead jammer for Jaws Breaker and Arizona Roller Derby. Whoopsie getting hit to the inside and going to have to recycle all the way back as Jaws Breaker is up for their first scoring pass. Pushing against those Minnesota blockers at the very top of that pack is Jaws Breaker. Whoopsie working at the back, going against all 4 Arizona blockers. Current score is Minnesota Roller Derby 5, Arizona Roller Derby 4, so tight game right off the bat. Both jammers stuck deep in those tripods, looking to get some offense from their friends. Jaws Breaker is getting dragged back. Whoopsie is pushed out to that inside. Is going to unfortunately head to the penalty box for a track cut, and that is going to be 4 points on the board for Jaws Breaker and Arizona Roller Derby, and Jaws Breaker is coming around for their second scoring pass. Great offense on the part of Arizona Roller Derby and beautiful toe stop work from Jaws Breaker as she works her way on the outside line. Does meet 2 Minnesota blockers and is going to have to reset all the way back behind and retry for that scoring pass. 2 more Minnesota blockers to beat at the top. 4 points on the board so far for Arizona Roller Derby. And we do have Whoopsie Daisy out of the box. And let's see what points landed.
That looks like right at the end of the jam. Number 69, Amanda Lorian, went to the box on a forearm call.
Ruh-roh.
Here we go. Number 333, Lefsa for Dead, and 3381, Hella Naughty for Arizona. Oh, and HaND hit out by number 00, Mad Libs, and that is Lefsa for dead. Out with lead and then called on a cut. Looks like lead will now be awarded to Arizona Roller Derby, HaND. Blockers are setting up. And it looks like Arizona blockers are playing some offense for their jammer. Minnesota defense holding strong at the top of the pack. That is number 616 at the top of the pack. Bizquick. That is another 4 points for HaND of Arizona Roller Derby. Lefsa still pushing. One blocker to beat at the top of the pack. And she is hit out by number 7, their pivot. That is Skatey Katie. And Lefsa is out on her initial pass. Minnesota blockers playing defense.
Blockers do play defense. That is true. You're not wrong. Defense and offense. They got all sorts of talents.
Sometimes both at once.
¿Por qué no los dos? Why not? All right, starting this next jam, a clear penalty box on both sides. Current score is Arizona Roller Derby is at 18, Minnesota's at 5. Looks like we have number 710, Gail Satan for Arizona against 187, Lex Cuter for Minnesota. Both jammers fighting through those packs. A little toe stop work seeing from both jammers as they're trying to push their way through in order to determine lead jam. And both jammers getting run back as Lexi is pushing towards the front. Gail Satan being dragged all the way back behind that Minnesota tripod. Number 775, Prim Reaper, playing some offense for her jammer front. But it is going to be Gail Satan for lead for Arizona. But unfortunately is actually going to go to the penalty box on a cut track. You hate to see it. It looked beautiful, though. Lexi pushing towards the top of that pack. 2 to beat, 1 to beat. Little do-si-doing as we do against, that is 9-5 Lightning. And that is going to lead jammer going to Lexicutor of Minnesota, looking to put some points on the board for her team. Lexi coming in for that first scoring pass does have some offense help as the Arizona jammer does enter back onto the track. Lexi pushing against 3. Now 2 blockers as Gail Satan does re-enter and is fighting against that Minnesota tripod. Lexi is going to be through for 4 points for Minnesota. Gail Satan does have that cap in hand and is meeting 2 more Minnesota blockers looking for their pivot. Lexi is going to be through for 4 more points. Gail Satan does make it through that initial pass. Looks like we are going to have another power jam for Minnesota as Gail Satan unfortunately must go back to that penalty box for a second track cut this jam. Lex Cuter looking to make some more points for her team. Does get hit out and is going to go ahead and call the jam. Beautiful hit by Ima Blobaya.
Minnesota is sending out 1618 centripetal force to start off this power jam.
True.
I can see a lead change in the future.
We're 5 points away. 13 for Minnesota, 18 for Arizona.
We'll see. That would be big.
That would be big.
Okay, we have 00 Mad Libs, 981 Dougie, 616 Bizquick, and 1717 Bunny. Looking to play some offense for their jammer. Oh, we had a bit of a pile up over there on turn 2. Trippy still pushing at the top of the pack. That Arizona defense is hard to beat, and there she goes. She is out on lead jam just as Gail Satan has returned to the pack from the box. Gail Satan out on an initial pass. Here goes Trippy through on her first scoring pass, bouncing off those Arizona blockers, and she has called the jam just in time before Arizona could come around and score. Looks like that is a full 4 points for Minnesota Roller Derby. We have a 1-point game, folks.
Not only do we have a 1-point game, we also have a clear penalty box for both teams.
What a
Girl, how'd that go? Was that good? Was that good? That sounded great to me. What a what? What a jam. On our jam line, we have Frida from Arizona going up against Connie from Minnesota.
Woo.
And a spin on the inside means Connie is going to be lead jammer from Minnesota, working her way around for some points. Frida does have the star in hand, looking to pass to their pivot. Connie is coming around, trying to put some points on the board for Minnesota. Frida still held at the back. Looks like there has been a successful star pass on the part of Arizona. We are now looking at Miss Murder as the jammer of record for Arizona coming around for their scoring pass. And Connie is going to call the jam, denying Arizona points. Let's see where we landed on our score.
Starting this jam with another clear box. Love to see that. And we have 3-3-3 Lefse for Dead and 3-1-3 West Coast Mafia on the jam line.
We are at a lead change, 21 for Minnesota, 18 for Arizona. Lead change, take a drink if you're playing at home.
We had some nice Arizona offense on that inside line, but Minnesota defense was able to cover. Bunny up at the top of the pack blocking, but out on lead jam.
Alas.
Alas, folks.
Alas, folks.
Alas, folks, Lefse for Dead is pushing at the top of the pack. Great footwork on the outside line, but she can't do it. 3-1-3 out with 4 points for Arizona Roller Derby. What a close game we have. That would be another lead change, folks. Should I keep saying folks?
I think folks and alas are your two really good words for this
great.
game.
I'll keep it going. Bizquick with the chase down. But that is another 4 points on the board for West Coast Mafia. Lefse for Dead does have the star.
Yeah.
Okay. Lefse for Dead looking for a star pass. Bizquick as pivot. Looks like she is trying to find an optimal position to take this pass, and she does. She did take the pass and took a big hit from that Arizona defense. Looks like that hit resulted in one Arizona blocker headed to the box on a forearm penalty. That is number 01, Goldie Knox. That is her first penalty of the game. Take it away, Chip. That was a 15-point jam for Arizona, I must have you know.
I must have you know, alas. This is going to go so well. That was a 15-point jam for West Coast Mafia and Arizona Roller Derby, bringing their score up to 33. We do have a official timeout. In the meantime, let's talk penalties. If you remember from me yakking your ear off last game, remember, a skater can get up to 7 penalties. Once you get 7 penalties, you are respectfully asked to get the heck out of here.
Hit the locker room, honestly.
Think about what you've done.
D-gear, why don't we?
Alas, why don't we? Currently, no one is in super serious penalty trouble. We have one skater at 2. The rest of the skaters at 1. It's only 17 minutes to go.
Looks like Minnesota has 4 penalties and Arizona has 5.
That was some fast counting.
There's a number at the top that says that.
I did not. I thought you were just being a really good college graduate. Alas, you did just graduate college. They're not going to let us do this anymore. You keep saying alas and I keep mocking you for it. They're not going to let us talk that much. One more alas, you're going to foul out. It's okay, Brian thinks we're funny. All right, folks.
Looks like
an official timeout means officials are chatting about things, rehydrating. It also does give both teams a chance to regroup, chat about their next plan.
Secret team meetings.
Secret team meetings. What do you think they talk about? Dinner?
I don't know.
Probably dinner.
Probably.
That's what I'd talk about. Up next on the track for Arizona, we have number 8-4, which is Jaws Breaker going up against 187 Lexicutor. Oh, I said it.
How
she'll get me
could
later.
you?
It's Lexicutor. She'll come for me later. All right. 1 Arizona blocker in the penalty box, which means Minnesota does have a brief track advantage, and everyone decides to go visit the outside line, make sure the refs are still there. Arizona jammer getting dragged all the way back by number 775, Prim Reaper. Lexi is working against the top of that pack. One to beat, pushing, and it is going to be Lexicutor from Minnesota for lead jammer for Minnesota Roller Derby. Cap in hand for Arizona Jammer, but she's also going to be out on her initial pass. Lexicutor coming in for her first scoring pass, looking for some points to put on the board for Minnesota Roller Derby, and the pack is speeding up. Lexi's going to dive through and call it off before Jaws Breaker has a chance to come through. I didn't want to cough into the microphone. That's rude.
How polite.
Thank you.
What a lady.
3 on the board for Minnesota. Big old goose egg for Arizona, bringing our score up to 33 Arizona, 24 Minnesota. Alas, take it away.
We have 1618 Sin Trip. I'll be back. Okay, and we are back. 1618 Centripetal Force in 3381. HaND out for lead for Arizona Roller Derby. Arizona defense looking very strong on this fine evening in Hopkins, Minnesota. Here we go. HaND, 1 blocker to beat. Make it 2. Make it 3. And here goes Centripetal Force out on an initial pass. Banicula of Minnesota Roller Derby looking great out there. That was a 4-point jam for Arizona, leaving Minnesota held scoreless. The score after that jam is 37-24 in favor of Arizona Roller Derby.
Do you talk like this all the time? I wish you would. I'm a big fan. Alas. Alas, 5 seconds. We got 110 Anaconda on the track for Minnesota and 710 Gale Satan for Arizona. Empty penalty box. And we have both jammers working their way. And that is going to be 110 Anaconda out lead for Minnesota, being told to run and get some points for her team. Gale Satan has removed that cap and is looking to make a pass. Connie in on her first scoring pass against a tough Arizona tripod. The defensive work from both teams this game so far has been really impressive.
You're telling me.
I say it.
I could not agree more.
I wouldn't listen to you if you disagreed.
The last time these two teams played in 2024 was in 2024.
Was it?
And I did look at the score, but I cannot remember
I
that
can't remember
at
it
this
all.
moment.
Connie's
I do know that game went in favor of Minnesota Roller Derby.
Can't remember the score, though. Connie's going to go ahead and call it off after a star pass. Looks like we've got 2.
2
Question
points
mark,
for
maybe
Minnesota.
3 on the board.
Make it 3. That is Frida for Arizona Roller Derby and Whoopsie Daisy for MNRD. Here we go. Mad Libs playing some offense for Whoopsie Daisy. But it is Arizona Roller Derby out for lead again. That is number 10, Frida. But just behind her is Whoopsie Daisy fighting 1 blocker. That is number 01, Goldie Knox at the top of the pack. And the jam is called off. It looks like Arizona scored 1 point. Minnesota held scoreless. This is a very official timeout.
I'm just laughing at you. I can't stop. I'm so sorry.
One of the most official timeouts we have seen yet.
Get out of here.
It's an official timeout.
Which means refs are checking in, making sure they all saw the same thing. Once again, it does give both teams to kind of check in with each other, see how they're doing. We do have 1 blocker standing and 1 blocker sitting in the penalty box for Arizona. Okay. So, again, looking at stats.
Can you hear me?
I can't. Don't you worry. I can hear you. Don't you worry. Minnesota sitting at 4 penalties still. 7 for Arizona. 1 blocker from Arizona at 3. Still plenty of wiggle room. All skaters are hanging out at that jam line. Minnesota Jam Line unofficially sponsored by Sertraline because every jammer on Minnesota does in fact take it. It's okay. They said I could say that.
what we're saying.
That's pretty much it.
Okay, it looks like that timeout is over
Did you
officially.
see whose family was just cheering?
Wasn't mine.
It was yours.
Okay. Lexecutor out for lead jam for Minnesota. But we have West Coast Mafia just right behind her. I hear some whistles happening. Who will be going to the box? That is a Minnesota blocker. Lexi is told to keep going with this jam. She is fighting against 2 Arizona blockers at the top of the pack. We have 1 Arizona blocker playing offense in the back, and West Coast Mafia still pushing at the back of the pack. Arizona Pivot has just came back from a penalty from the box. That is number 4, Sherman. And that final push sent number 2 from Arizona, Mimi Mahler, to the box. Here comes Lexi around on a scoring pass. She has scored 4 points. Let's see what she can put up. And West Coast Mafia is still fighting at the back of the pack against a great Minnesota tripod. That jam ends with 1 Arizona blocker in the box. That is number 1. Is it number 1? I don't see number 1.
I can't read that far.
Could it be Goldie Knox?
Don't know. Sitting over here with you. Can't see that far. Oh, it's number 2. How embarrassing.
It is Mimi Mahler.
How embarrassing. Looks like we are sitting at a team timeout. That is going to be for Arizona. Quick reminder, each team does have 3 timeouts and 1 official review that they can use per half. Official review is if you want to just make sure that you and the refs are on the same page. If you are on the same page, you get to obtain your official review. If you're not on the same page, you lose your official review. Wow.
Womp womp.
You hate to see it, but it's okay. It's nice to chat. Up next on the line, we do have number 8-4 from Arizona. That's going to be Jaws Breaker going up against 1618 Centripetal Force. We got 11 minutes, 58 seconds left in this first half. There's people watching the stream and hearing this. No, it's pretty horrific. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awful. Yeah. They're willingly listening. Can you believe it? I can't. All right. And we are off on jam number 14, Centripetal Force versus Jaws Breaker. It is going to be number 1618 from Minnesota, Centripetal Force out for lead jam. Jaws Breaker is still working through that pack on their initial pass. We do hear some whistles, which means someone will be going and taking a seat in that penalty box. Looks like it is going to be an Arizona blocker. Jaws Breaker still working against that Minnesota tripod in the front. We do have Centripetal Force coming through for 4 points on her first scoring pass. Jaws Breaker getting a little bit of offensive help from their friends. And Trippy is coming through on a second scoring pass, getting some offensive help from 0-0 Mad Libs, and she is through for 4 more points. Jaws Breaker pushing with all of their might against the Minnesota tripod is going to remove that cap. Great offensive and defensive work from both teams today. That is going to be Trippy through for 4 more points. We do have a star pass for Arizona. That is going to be to number 7, Skatey Katie, looking to make some points of their own for Arizona. Trippy coming through and is going to go ahead and call off the jam, stopping Skatey Katie from holding any points.
We have a lead change.
We do have a lead change. That was a 12-point jam for Minnesota Roller Derby, making Roller Derby just ending.
Just roller derby.
Just roller derby.
Huh.
Minnesota's 42, Arizona. Oh my gosh, Minnesota 46, Arizona 42. I gotta go to bed. Okay, I'm old. It's past my bedtime.
Ooh. That is 1-1-2 Whoopsie Daisy and 3-3-8-1. I believe we have seen this matchup a couple times before. And who will take lead this time? Well, I'm not yet sure. Whoopsie Daisy is up at the top of the pack. Hella Naughty is getting drawn back by one of the Minnesota blockers, number 29, Killer B. Looks like Arizona is going to play some offense on their drawback. Back comes Whoopsie Daisy trying to take the outside line. Pushed out by her. There. Wow. Wow. What's going to happen? And Hella Naughty sneaks on through on that inside line to take lead jammer. Whoopsie Daisy still fighting. Blockers providing some offense, and she is hit out by number 2-4. I'm a blow blight.
You got it.
I'm a blow. Help me out here.
I'm a blow by. Are you good? You're good. You got it.
Okay. Looks like that was a 0-0 jam. No points awarded to either team out there. Keeping our score at 46-42. We have one blocker in the box for each respective team.
Uh-oh.
That is 775 Prim Reaper and number
6-2.
62.
Currently on the track for Arizona, we've got Frida jamming against number 110 Anaconda for Minnesota. Both jammers fighting through. They do have 3 blockers apiece to get through. It is going to be number 110 Anaconda at the front and lead for Minnesota, being told to run it. Frida working through that tripod in the back. We do have a cap off. That is going to be a star pass to number 4 for Arizona, Sherman. Anaconda through for 4 points for Minnesota and is being told to call the jam. Great star pass by Arizona to number 4, Sherman.
That it was, Chip.
Alas, was it? Egads, is that our next word? Gosh golly. Don't cry, it's okay.
Keep it in.
You're not going to announce with me again, are you?
Number 313 for Arizona, West Coast Mafia lining up right behind 187 Lexecutor for Minnesota. Both jammers going up against some tough tripods. It looks like Killer B has a hit. That is a cut track penalty on West Coast Mafia. It looks like West Coast Mafia was hit out by Killer B and did not recycle behind the blocker that had hit her out. Here we go. Lexecutor up at the top of the pack, looking for offense from her blockers. One blocker to beat. And we have this Arizona defense is recycling fast. We have 3 blockers to beat. This tripod is made up of I'm a blow Baya, number 2, Mimi Mahler, and 9-5. That is Lightning the Queen. Defense is holding strong. That Arizona jammer is back from the penalty box. We have the pivot from Arizona holding the pack. Lexi still pushing. That tripod is not moving. Some Arizona blockers headed back to play some offense. This is a slow-moving jam. Sure is.
Alas, one could say.
And West Coast Mafia is hit out by 6'9", a Mandalorian. We have 6 seconds left, and Lexecutor looking to call that jam. That is the end of the jam. We do not have scores up yet. I believe Lexi should get some points for that jam. Okay, that is a 0-0 jam.
All right, up next on the jam line, we've got Gale Satan and Centripetal Force coming up. We do have a empty penalty box, so 4 blockers apiece on the track that the jammers have to contend with. And with a hop, skip, and a jump, we do have Gale Satan out on their lead jammer status, coming in for points. Trippy is still working towards the back of that pack as Satan re-enters for points. 1 to beat left at the top. And now, hop, skip, and a jump, yeah. I felt smart when I said it. I don't know how it felt. Gale Satan now being held against all 4 Minnesota blockers. Recycle to the back now. 2 to beat up top. 3 to beat. Trippy moving around, but is going to also be recycled all the way back. Trippy does have cap in hand. We are going to have someone going to the penalty box. Looks like it is going to be number 00 from Minnesota. That is Mad Libs. Hit to the inside, but sure enough, a cut track called on Gail Satan, making this a power jam for Minnesota. This will not be lead jam for Trippy since she did remove that cap, so this is going to go the full 2 minutes for this jam. Trippy has 1 left to beat up top and is going to do so. Trippy out on their initial is now going to be able to come back and score some points. We do have still 1 Minnesota blocker in that penalty box. Other 3 Minnesota blockers are looking to make some room for Trippy to come through 4 points. Trippy working against that full complement of Arizona blockers. All 4 Minnesota blockers now back on track. We do have Gail Satan re-entering from their penalty. 1 star on the track. No. Don't say that. That's sneaky. We have 7 seconds left in this jam. Hard fought by both teams, looking for points for their respective teams. Gail Satan working towards the back of that pack, and jam does come to its natural conclusion. Let's see what points we landed on. Looks like it is going to be 4 apiece for Arizona and Minnesota. Let's see where that ends the scores. That's going to be 54 for Minnesota, 46 for Arizona. 3 minutes left in this first half.
This is a physical and low-scoring game, if I do say so myself.
Egads, do ya?
Okay, Anaconda back on the track. A fast lead jam for Minnesota Roller Derby. Up against Jaws Breaker. That is number 84. Number 69 from Minnesota, a Mandalorian, headed to the box on a direction call. And Jaws Breaker is out on initial pass. Anaconda looking to get as many points as she can before calling the jam off. And she has called the jam. Looks like she was awarded. Just you wait. It's going to be exciting. 3 points. Just you wait. Oh boy. That is a 3-0 jam in favor of Minnesota Roller Derby.
1 minute, 50 seconds left in this first half of the game. We do have 1 Minnesota blocker sitting in the penalty box. Number 333, left of 4 dead, going up against 3381, Hella Naughty from Arizona. And that is going to be Hella Naughty for Arizona out on lead. Lefsa pushing up against 1 more at the top of that pack, make it 2. Hella Naughty coming around for some points of her own. Defensive tripod setting up to the back from Minnesota with some offensive help from Arizona. Lefsa is through on her initial pass. We do have all 8 blockers back on the track, and as I say that, I hear the beautiful penalty whistle, which is actually going to send Hella Naughty possibly to the penalty box. Yes. So power jam opportunity for Minnesota again. This will. It looks as though the Arizona jammer was sent to the box on accident. She did then return to the track and call off the jam. I'm sure there'll be some clarification on that. You know what? Stuff happens. But great call on Arizona. That brings their score for Arizona up to 50. 60 for Minnesota. 10 points separate these 2 teams.
Number 187. Number 187, Lexicutor, and number 10, Frida, out on the jam line. Lexicutor is hit to the outside by Arizona defense, but she is out on lead jam. Some great offense coming in from Arizona to assist their jammer. And here comes Lexicutor around for a scoring pass. 2 blockers at the top of the pack. Very hard hit from Imabolo Baya. I apologize, folks. I am having a hard time with my pronunciation.
That's okay, maybe.
And Lexicutor is out on a scoring pass. That is 4 points. Here we go. Lexicutor fighting against the Arizona Tripod. It looks like we have Poisonberry Pie 1128 coming in to play some offense. And we had a star stash from number 10, Frida, that did help them get out of the pack. And they just put the star back on. That brings us to halftime, folks. The score is, wait. This could be crazy.
It's an official review.
Oh, it's an official review, folks. I believe it was called by Minnesota Roller Derby in white.
Once again, official reviews are for making sure teams and refs are on the same page. If the team saw something the refs didn't call or vice versa, they can go into the middle and chat about it. Refs will confer, see what they think, and return their decision to the coaches. If the refs and the coaches agree, that team will retain their official review. If the refs say, sorry, love you, you're still wrong, the team will lose that review. Again, you only get 3 timeouts and 1 official review per half, so you may as well use it before the half's over.
That is correct.
Alas.
Sure is.
Gee whiz.
Jiminy Crickets.
Okay, that's a new one. That's obscene.
I thought I'd try it.
That's obscene.
Come on. Ever had any fun?
Nah, I've never had fun. I'm too old. All right, folks, that does bring up to intermission. We are going to have a 10-minute intermission. We will see you back there then. Get some snacks, get some drinks, and we'll see you soon.
There are vending machines, folks. Arizona will put out number 10. That is Frida.
I've got the T on the official review.
What happened?
Minnesota.
Do tell.
I will tell you. Minnesota was looking for an in sub on an Arizona blocker. The refs said, nah, not true.
Nah? Okay.
Not true. So Minnesota will not retain, which is okay because it's the beginning of a new half, so everyone starts over with new
Everyone's
timeouts.
got an official review. Not to worry.
Does. And we will hopefully get that reset. Current score, Minnesota Roller Derby 68, Arizona Roller Derby 50.
Yeah.
Ma'am. What? Yeah. You were going to have a good thing?
I was about to have something really good.
What was it?
So I said yeah because I lost it.
Oh, okay. We've got, yeah.
I just saw that fuzz. Thought I was seeing stars.
No, there's fuzz floating in. So Minnesota in the summer is really fun because everything is falling off the tree. So if you're allergic to anything,
stay inside.
My apologies,
folks.
friends. Yeah. Whee. Okay.
I will take it away.
Take it away, Rizzler.
Here we go.
Yeah.
We have official Beef Chief starting this half off with a 5-second warning or remark, if you will.
If you please.
And the half is started. Looks like Frida trying to sneak by on that inside line. But, alas, it is a high block penalty, I do believe.
Alas.
So that leaves Anaconda with lead open on the track. I am being laughed at, but I will not let that
Really?
dull my sparkle.
Really? Don't let it dull your sparkle. You alas yourself.
Here we go. Anaconda pushing up against number 7. That is Skatey Katie. We have seen some great defense from number 7, Skatey Katie.
Very true.
From Arizona Roller Derby.
And
Minnesota lining up in the back.
Skatey Katie has no penalties so far.
Skatey Katie with a clean game. Anaconda coming in. Prim Reaper with some great offense, and that gets Anaconda to the top of the pack. I do believe Frida is still on her initial pass.
I do
Would
believe
I be
so.
correct to assume
you
that?
would be correct to assume that. Very good. Very good.
Thank you. Okay. Anaconda is getting calls off. Anaconda calls off the jam. That is 3 points for Minnesota.
a mystery. All right, we are once again looking at an empty penalty box. We are going to have number 313 West Coast Mafia going up against number 187 Lexicutor. 4 blockers apiece on the track. On the track. It's my Minnesota coming out. Shut it. All right, we are off. West Coast Mafia blasting up that middle, followed closely by Lexicutor, and Lexicutor is going to find some room on the outside, running up against 2 Arizona blockers. West Coast Mafia fighting through on the back. A little Matrix move from 0-0 Mad Libs there, a little weirdo. And we have West Coast Mafia unfortunately sent to the penalty box on, I don't know, a penalty. I don't know my letters, so I don't know what that means. But Lexicutor is still fighting through. Lead is still open for this jam. Lexi's got 2 to beat, 1 to beat, and will be called lead jammer. Lexicutor looking to put some points on the board as Mad Libs from Minnesota does hit the penalty box. Lexi coming in for her scoring pass of offense from Dougie, one of our captains. Great defense from Arizona is going to send Lexi back on a recycle as West Coast Mafia does re-enter from that penalty box. Both jammers trapped between those rough tripods. Again, really strong skating from both teams this game. And West Coast Mafia is out on her initial pass, forcing Lexicutor to make that call off, holding Arizona scoreless. Great defensive moves by both teams. I know, I didn't mean to hit the table, okay? I got a lot of feelings.
Let's not be so aggressive.
I have a lot of feelings, all right? All right, let's see where our score lands before you make fun of me anymore. 74 for Minnesota Roller Derby, 50 for Arizona. We've got 26 minutes and 54 seconds left in this half.
That we do, Chip-a-Tooth.
Okay, Karina, all right. Talk about aggressive.
Here we go. 3-3-8-1 Helenati out for Minnesota, and that is lead jam awarded to Minnesota Roller Derby, our home team of this tournament in Hopkins, Minnesota. Have a nice day. Here we go. Centripetal Force going into a tripod of Arizona blockers, and looks like she has been drawn back. We still have Helenati pushing up at the top, held back by number 29, Killer B. That will send number 29, Killer B, to the box, though. And Helenati is out on initial pass. Let's see if Trippy can have one more scoring pass through the pack. She was able to go in front of that blocker because the blocker had fallen. That is 3 points for Minnesota, making that a 7-0 jam in favor of the home team.
That's Minnesota, right? Hopkins, yeah?
Hopkins, Minnesota Roller Derby.
Raspberryville, as I learned on the previous game. Didn't have a single clue.
Hopkins, Minnesota.
Raspberryville.
Hopkins team.
Hopkins team, no. All right. 1 blocker for Minnesota sitting in the penalty box. We have Whoopsie Daisy going up against Frida. Big hit from the back.
Hit from number 24, I'm a blow by.
Goodness. Oh, you got the name right. You did it.
I did it, folks.
Both jammers in a scramble for lead.
That was a no pass, no penalty to number 10, Frida.
Yes, that was. Lead is still open, so if Whoopsie can get out. But Frida is through on a scoring pass, has pretty Rackless left to beat, and that will be 4 points for Arizona Roller Derby. Whoopsie does have cap in hand.
Just fighting through the pack, and I will stop interrupting you.
You're talking on my jam, gee whiz. All right. Whoopsie is still fighting at the top. She has removed the star, which means there will not be a lead for this jam, which means we will go the entire 2 minutes. Frida in on a second scoring pass. Whoopsie Daisy being taken back in time to turn 3. Frida fighting against all 4 Minnesota blockers, and is going to be dragged back by 616. Biz quick for Minnesota. Frida already 4 points under their belt. Whoopsie is now out on her initial. Frida making some moves on that outside line. Whoopsie now in for her scoring pass. Going to get hit to the outside and recycled back. Frida is going to be hit to the inside and recycled back, so a journey back in time for both jammers. Again, folks, we are going the full 2 minutes, so this is a slog of a jam for all skaters on the track. We have 30 seconds left. Points being scored by both jammers as they race through these packs. Again, the offense and defense seen from both teams today has been... Hey, your mic's on. You did great. All right, both jammers once again being recycled to the very back of the pack. We have 12 seconds left in this jam. One Arizona blocker is standing in the penalty box. One is sitting, unfortunately. Both jammers just being dragged to the beginning of time, it seems, and that jam is going to come to its natural conclusion.
Would you look at that?
Back to the Stone Age, those jammers go.
What
All right,
a
we ended that
shame.
with 7 points on the board for Arizona Roller Derby, bringing their score total to 57. 3 points on the board for Minnesota, bringing their score total to 84.
Could you talk a little faster?
No, I'm really hyped right now, okay? This is just my normal speed.
I could say the same, and I do believe that's why.
You're just passionate. That's okay.
And we have 110 Anaconda back out on the track up against number 84, Jaws Breaker. We have a bit of a pile up right by that pivot line. Looks like Anaconda coming in, hit out by number 4, Sherman of Arizona. And that is number 31, 2x4. Putting a great hit on Anaconda. And here comes Jaws Breaker recycling behind 775 Prim Reaper. We are doing a lot of recycling in this jam. And you know what? Recycling is great for the earth, so I support it.
Not when you're the jammer being recycled.
That's why I don't jam.
Come on. It's
Come
so
on.
fun. Big fan.
Here we go. One blocker to the box for Arizona. That is number 31, only on their second penalty. Still no lead, and we are over halfway into this jam.
Exhausting.
That's some defense, folks. Here we go. Anaconda is out on lead jam. 1 minute and 10 seconds into the jam. Yeah, that's tough. Here we go. Oh, and a big hit by the Arizona pivot. That is Sherman. But alas, 69, a Mandalorian coming in to play some offense. We have a lot of Minnesota offense.
Alas.
Oh, and Connie is knocked down by number 01. We did have a star pass right at the end there to number 4, Sherman. And the jam is called off, leaving Minnesota with 3 points, Arizona with 0. The score is currently 87 to 57 in favor of Hopkins.
Taking a look at some penalty stats. We've got 2 players apiece on Arizona with 4 penalties. 1 player on on Minnesota with 4. Only real trouble we're seeing. All right, number 313, that's West Coast Mafia for Arizona, and 187 Lexicutor for Minnesota. Lexicutor is going to be your lead jammer for Minnesota. Big scary smile on her face. West Coast Mafia does have Cap in hand, but is out on her initial as well. Lexi coming in to try and make some points. We do hear some whistles, which means that there might be a penalty coming. Lexi is coming through on for her first scoring pass and is going to go ahead and call the jam, which will leave Arizona scoreless. Nice, fast jam. Great work on the part of Arizona, keeping that pack moving so they don't have all their points. Lexi only getting 2 on that pass, so great defensive work by Arizona.
Now we have 1618 Centripetal Force and 3381 Hella Naughty jamming for their respective teams. And we have a timeout being called by head ref Spike.
Ooh, it's an official timeout.
And this time, it's even official.
It's official.
It is so official.
Officially, also, I have to tell you that if you are in-house today, we do have 2 very talented tattoo artists hanging out in the back there. So they have some specially designed flash tattoos specifically for this tournament. Ooh, timeout could be sponsored by Spike. That means he has to pay me money, though. Does he know that? He might not know that. Spike owes me $10. That means I could spend extra $10 getting a tattoo.
You sure can.
Are you going to get a tattoo? I'm on the list for tomorrow.
What are you getting?
Don't know.
Thought you told me.
mystery what I'm getting. I gotta make up my mind.
Okay.
I had a plan, gotta change it.
Start pondering what tattoo you would like.
Alas, I shall ponder.
Alas, I've seen some great tattoos. Oh yeah, I'm ready. Here we go. Jam is on, and it looks like whistles are a-blowing. Lead jam goes to Hella Naughty of Arizona. They are having a great game tonight.
Beautiful footwork on that inside for Hella
I
Naughty.
would have to agree.
Would have to agree.
Would be wrong to disagree. Here we go. Centripetal Force getting recycled back by Arizona blocker number 3-1, 2x-Force. Centripetal Force coming around on a scoring pass. Arizona Jammer being told to run this jam. What will we see? Centripetal Force out, and that is 4 points for Minnesota Roller Derby. I believe Arizona is running this jam to clear their blockers out of the box. They now have one blocker in the box. Centripetal Force out with another 4 points for Minnesota Roller Derby. Arizona gonna get some points on that jam. Arizona did get the full 4, so that is an 8-4 jam in favor of Minnesota Roller Derby.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
You did great.
Thank you.
Really top-notch announcing.
Oh my, you stop it.
I can't.
Turns out.
We have number 333, Left for Dead, going up against 710, Gail Satan on the track for their respective teams. One Arizona blocker in the penalty box. It is going to be Left for Dead out for lead jammer for Minnesota Roller Derby. Coming around for some points. Gail Satan, though, having some spectacular moves up that inside line, is now out on their initial. Unfortunately, Gail Satan is going to be going to the box for a track cut. That is going to be 4 points on the board for Left for Dead and Minnesota Roller Derby, bringing Minnesota across that century mark. We are going to see number 00 for Minnesota, Mad Libs, the pivot, also heading to the penalty box. Minnesota playing some offense for their jammer as they are on a power jam. Lefsa pushing on that outside line is going to get knocked down and recycled, and we'll call off the jam, icing that Arizona jammer in the penalty box. Smart strategy.
8
points on the board.
That Arizona jammer in the box. Gonna start on a power jam, Minnesota. What I was gonna say just a couple minutes ago is turns out they let anyone announce.
That's why I'm here. Are you kidding?
Oh.
They said, I guess we are on. Don't you worry, we're on.
Whoopsie Daisy is fielded as the jammer for this power jam on June 6th.
Are you saying the date?
Just to make sure we know.
It is June 6th.
It is June 6th, 2025, and Whoopsie Daisy is out on a power jam, but Gail Satan is back from the box, but Whoopsie Daisy is out on lead, being told to run this jam. Here we go. Gail Satan has dropped the star momentarily, but since has picked it back up. I am hearing whistles. And I am getting a little overwhelmed. It looks like that is 1128. Poisonberry Pie to the box for Minnesota. I'm gonna reel it in here. You are a lot. That got crazy.
You're just really passionate, and I appreciate that about you. All right, we direct our attention over to our cute little penalty tracker. We do have one Arizona skater at 5, which is not bad. Remember, you can get to 7 before you're respectfully asked to get the heck out of here. No one else really in any penalty trouble. We are going to start with one Minnesota blocker in the box. We do have number 187, Lexicutor, going up against... Move your head, Lexi. I can't see. Move your head. Frida from Arizona. Both packs traveling back in time a little bit to join the jammers behind the jammer line, and now both jammers are trying to push through on that outside. Full complement of blockers for Arizona for Lexi to contend with. I'm sure she loves that. Both jammers, we have actually traveled back. We are behind the jam line, and no one is moving.
This is some jammer love we are seeing.
We are snuggling.
Some jammer defense, perhaps.
All right, we got Frida tiptoeing up that inside, Lexi pushing on the outside. We do have Poisonberry Pie returning to the track from that penalty box. 40 seconds gone in this jam. We have yet to have a lead jammer called. Both jammers are at the back of the pack trying their best to make their way through any way they can to become lead jammer. And on the outside, we will have number 187 from Minnesota, Lexecutor, as our lead jammer. Frida still working their way through in the back of the pack. Lexi now coming around to score some points for Minnesota. 14 minutes and 30 seconds left in the second half. 1 minute left on the jam. Lexi hitting that deep Arizona tripod at the top. We do have a star pass for Arizona. Miss Murder, now the jammer of record for Arizona. Lexi getting some offensive help on being pushed to the outside. And I believe that Miss Murder for Arizona did end that jam by getting called on a cut track. So this will be a power start for Minnesota. 3 points put on the board that last jam by Lexecutor. Power start for Minnesota.
You are correct.
Every so often.
We have Miss Murder starting off in the box. Centripetal Force on a power jam. Minnesota playing some offense for their jammer. And there she goes around the outside line. 3 to beat. They have number 7, that is Skatey Katie. The pivot for Arizona held in the back. And Centripetal Force 1 to beat at the top of the pack. That is number 4, Sherman of Arizona. Make it number 01, Goldie Knox. We had a little swap out. Centripetal Force is out. That did take about 35 seconds to get a lead jam. This defense is tough. Jammer for Arizona, Miss Murder, back out on the track. Cap is off, maybe looking for a pass. And Centripetal Force is pushing up against a tripod with number 38, Colette Razorcat, and number 88, Miss Murder. It looks like Miss Murder has passed the star to Skatey Katie. Alas, there is a track cut penalty. That is given to Skatey Katie. We have 2 Arizona players in the box. Skatey Katie is in the box as the jammer of record. That was a star pass from Miss Murder. I'm considering becoming a full-time announcer.
Do it. The pay is great. You know, I got a high five, so I'm set. That's going right in my 401k. All right, looks like we are going to have an official timeout. Arizona will be starting with a jammer and a blocker in the penalty box, giving a power start opportunity to Minnesota. Minnesota has fielded number 110, Anaconda, as their jammer. Once again, checking over into penalties, we do still have that skater from Arizona hovering at 5. Minnesota has a blocker hovering at 4. And again, other than that, nothing big. Remember, you can get to 7.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, nothing too concerning at all.
Okay, lean in, would you?
Minnesota with 14 penalties for the team, and Arizona with just 1 second.
You need your glasses, don't you?
28. So, Arizona does have double the amount of penalties as Minnesota. That could be reason for this score difference that we are seeing in the second half. Minnesota has been able to pull away just a little bit, but that has not happened without a fight. These jammers are fighting against some solid defense, if I do say so myself.
Alas, do ya?
On this Friday evening in Hopkins, Minnesota.
You gonna give us our coordinates next, or like the weather and your blood type? What's going on? Wow. No, I don't hate you. I think you're fantastic, and we should do announcing together all the time. Do it. It's fine. All right, Beef Chief calling us into this next. We are in Jam 12 in the second half. Power Jam for Minnesota, so Arizona is running up to try and protect their points. Anaconda coming in on her initial pass is going to get hit to the outside. That will be a no pass, no penalty. So Anaconda out, but is not. Lead Jammer did pass the skater who was out of bounds or down, so no pass, no penalty for Anaconda. Is coming in though for a scoring pass, so we'll be getting some offensive help from her friends. We do have number 7 Skady Katie for Arizona back in as the jammer for Arizona, coming in on their initial pass. Anaconda going to get hit, route, and recycled all the way back to the back. We do have an Arizona pivot heading to the box. A big hit to the outside for Anaconda. We now have 2 blockers for Arizona in the box and 1 Minnesota blocker. Skady Katie did come out as lead. If you remember, Anaconda was called no pass, no penalty. So Skady Katie called lead, called that jam off quick. Let's see how our points. It looks like that was 3 on the board for Minnesota Roller Derby, bringing their score up to 117. Arizona at 61.
Okay, we have number 313, West Coast Mafia, up against 333, Lefse for Dead.
Unofficial timeout. Oh my gosh. Look at that.
How official?
How official. And actually, it's an official review. Looks like Arizona is calling
it or not.
review.
Arizona has some questions for this referee crew. Or concerns.
Or just thoughts.
Or feelings.
Questions, comments, concerns, book ideas. Bring them all to your local reffing crew. They love talking to strangers. Big fans. Quick shout out, thank you to our medics keeping us safe today. Thank you to all of our volunteers who are here helping us out.
Shout out.
Okay. And we will see you, egads. I can't handle you. Don't forget, we are starting tomorrow bright and early at 10 a.m. with our first game.
Bright and early.
Dude, that's so early.
Is it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Some people work at night,
Who
okay?
will we see playing at 10 a.m.?
Oh my gosh,
Do
tomorrow?
tell, Chipatooth.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm going to get the team about the official review. All right, I got the hot tea. Arizona was requesting a cut call on the Minnesota jammer. The ref said, didn't see it.
Not enough information.
Arizona will not retain their official review. And that's okay. You try it, you see what you think.
Lefse for Dead out on the outside line. That is lead jam for Minnesota. Oh, and we have a power jam for Minnesota. 313 is off to the box on a track cut penalty. The pack is just racing. Boy, oh boy, we only have 1 blocker on the track on the track for Arizona. That is number 4, Sherman. Lefse has reached the blocker on the track and is fighting up against the pivot of Arizona and Sherman. Just pushing and will get through on the outside line. It looks like that sends the pivot number 2, Mimi Muller, to the box for Arizona. Arizona has 3 blockers in the box, now just 1, 2 returning to the track. Sherman has been on the track blocking this whole time. Lefse for Dead, pushing. And we have West Coast Mafia back on the track, pushing up against Minnesota defense, and is out. That is their initial pass. We're going to call it that. Why don't we? Here we go. And Lefse being told to call that jam from the bench. That was a 7-point jam, I believe, for Minnesota, leaving the score at 124 Minnesota to 61 Arizona. We have 9 minutes left in this game.
All right. We do have some feedback, so sorry.
Wow.
Are we okay? We're okay? Okay, great. We do have a blocker on Arizona sitting at 6 penalties. Max is just hanging out. He's saying hi. We've got 187 Lexicutor on the track for Minnesota going up against Hella Naughty for Arizona. Both jammers pushing against a deep defensive slog put up from both teams. A little bit of movement now as we see both jammers fighting for the front. We are going to see Lexi fighting against one more at the top for Arizona, for Minnesota. I did not say Lexicutor, I said Lexicutor. Hella Naughty being recycled back to the back as Lexicutor is coming in for her first scoring pass. Hella Naughty working on that initial pass, finding a Minnesota defensive tripod in the back, but Lexi finding an Arizona defensive tripod in the front and being slowed down. Once again, beautiful defensive work from both of these teams today. This would be considered still a low-scoring game in the world of roller derby, so great defensive work from both teams. Both jammers now having to fight through those tripods. A little bit of offensive help in the top, but still Arizona has Lexi locked down. Minnesota has Hella Naughty locked down in the very back. We are pushing the pack forward, working for these points. Both jammers just coming up against the defensive force of both of these teams. A little bit of movement now at the front. Lexi with one to beat, and that's going to be Skatey Katie. Lexi through for 4 points. Hella Naughty does have the cap removed and back and is looking for some help from their pivot. A little bit of movement now in the back as Hella Naughty is making moves. Lexi hit out and recycled. New jammer for Arizona is going to be number 7, Skatey Katie. Pivot turn jammer as Lexi is fighting for more points in the back. Lexi is going to go ahead and call off the jam. We have 7 minutes left in this game. 7 points total on the board for Minnesota, bringing their score to 131. Arizona at 61. Anything to add? Any thoughts? Thoughts, feelings?
What a great game.
Truly, roller derby.
It is low scoring.
It is. I would say this is low scoring.
You would have to say, you'd be wrong to not even say that.
That's what I thought.
Here we go. The jam is on. That is number 84, Jaws Breaker, up against number 1618, Centripetal Force of Minnesota Roller Derby. Hit out on the inside and recycled back by number 88. That is Miss Murder. Oh, and then hit out again. That is number 62, Mako. Oh, and we had a little duck bean dip scoot on by, but alas, Minnesota was lead jam the whole time.
Alas!
By Minnesota Roller Derby. That is a 0-0 jam. Keep it simple. Score is still 131 to 63.
Kiss, keep it simple, silly.
Just keep it simple.
How'd that feel? Was that good? Did that feel good?
I don't think I'd say it again.
Probably not. I wouldn't.
No. Felt even a little embarrassing.
We've got Whoopsie Daisy going up against Frida, a match I believe we have seen before in this turnout. We have now both jammers fighting around the outside, but it is going to be number 10 from Arizona, Frida, as lead jammer. Whoopsie with 1 to beat, now 2 to beat at the top, is going to be knocked to the ground. Checked gravity does still work. Whoopsie is going to be out on her initial. We've got Frida at the front scoring points for Arizona. Tiptoeing up that inside, is going to get knocked out and recycled back and will call the jam. I heard that skin slide. Whoopsie, is your butt okay? Your skin is on the floor. Make sure you pick that up when the game's done, babe.
How do you feel, Whoopsie Daisy?
I heard that skin slide.
That didn't sound good.
Skirt!
Good one, Chip.
I'm a medical professional. It's all right.
People don't say that anymore.
People don't say medical professional anymore? Oh, people don't say skirt? Well, I'm older than you by like a lot, as you love to tell me.
And we have number 110, Anaconda, out it for lead jam right on the inside line. And West Coast Mafia right behind her. Here we go. It is a race. And what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Blockers are racing. Jammers are racing. I'm feeling scared. And the jam is called off.
That was like some
good
2014
for
style
our heart
derby.
rates.
Yeah, 2014 style derby with some running, little cardio.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Were you alive in 2014? How old were you in 2014? Tell me. Be honest. You don't know. You were 12 in 2014? I gotta go.
Yeah.
I graduated college in 2014, so that's good. All right, before the nursing home realizes I'm gone, we've got number 333 Lefsa for Dead going up against 3381 HaND. That's why I still say skirt, because I'm old. Clear penalty box. What a time for these two teams. Both jammers pushing ahead. HaND with one left to beat up front, and that is going to make HaND for Arizona lead jammer. Lefsa is fighting against the back. HaND is coming in for scoring pass. Lefsa for Dead being held back by that strong Arizona defense. HaND pushing to the front. We do have a cap off for Minnesota. 3 minutes, 11 seconds left in this game. HaND is through for 4 points and coming around for more. Get it. I know. It's a lot.
Left that jammer cap off. It looks like Libs, the pivot.
Does she? Does she? You can.
Did I just spill the beans?
No, but you're in my jam right now.
I thought we could do this together as a team. Finish out the game as friends.
Finish out the game as friends. We'll see. We have Lefsa pushing against the tripod in front, still working on her initial pass, cap in hand. HaND is big tumble to the floor for Lefsa for Dead. It's okay. She is made of rubber. I did check. She does not have any bones, so she is totally fine. HaND working on her second scoring pass of this jam. Sure, man. Pivot for Arizona being sent to the penalty box. Take a seat. And oh, no. I'm so sorry. It was beautiful tiptoeing, but it is going to be a track cut for HaND.
Very illegal tiptoeing, it turns out.
But it looked really, really cool. All right. We have Lefsa fighting, being dragged back in time all the way. Gee whiz, where are we going? Oh, we're going back to turn 2. All right. Lefsa drawn back in time at turn 2. Power jam for Minnesota.
Many whistles to call off that jam.
The jam just ended. Oh. Oh, I didn't listen to you. I'm sorry.
Ew. What's new? Okay, we have a power jam for number 187, Lexecutor. Starting with 3381, HaND in the box. This could possibly be our last jam of the night. Could it? I sure hope it isn't.
I'd like some more Derby.
And Lexecutor out with lead jam status. Arizona jammer returning from the box. Lexecutor being instructed to keep this jam a-rolling. HaND is out on an initial pass. And here goes Lexecutor, hit out by number 9-5. That is Lightning the Queen. Folks, I believe we may have one more jam, but we will have to wait and see.
Do you know what else I believe?
Do tell.
I believe we have a foul out. So remember, folks, as I've said to you 9 bazillion times so far today, once you hit 7 penalties, you are respectfully asked to get the higgity heck out of here. De-gear, hit the shower, think about what you've done, reflect on the great game you had, but do it off your skates.
I do fear number 2, Mimi Mahler, did have a great game out there, but she will be hitting the locker room.
You do fear it. You hate to see
Only
it.
missing one jam of this game.
Very
really
true.
left it all out on the track.
Very true. So the rest of that penalty will be served by one of the captains of Arizona. I think that's how the rules work. I actually don't know the rules to this game.
I don't know them that great either, you know.
Great. Don't tell our coach. He's going to be so mad. All right.
We have coach of Minnesota making a run for it
He
to
is sprinting.
give some information to the blockers and jammer of Minnesota out there for the last jam.
He's sprinting in khakis. Do you know how hard that is to sprint in khakis?
It's truly admirable what he's doing out there. Now we're getting a speed walk.
I'm getting kicked off this team. I'm out. All right. Before I leave this sport forever. So we do have 3 Minnesota players at 4 penalties, 1 Arizona player at 5, and Both teams taking a second to regroup, re-strategize, think about what they're ordering for dinner. Current score right now is 136 Minnesota Roller Derby, 75 for Arizona Roller Derby. We have
that it is.
Is it? Wow. Alas, is it? The thought of us having microphones is really horrifying. I really can't believe they let us do this.
The thought of us having microphones.
You're a college
Hopkins
graduate. You should be
Pavilion.
a lot more professional than this. I'm in school, okay? I don't have to be
You're
professional
also
till I
a college graduate.
Yeah, but my degree is fake. Music performance is not a real degree. If there's a music performance major in the crowd, they will agree with me. It's not a real degree. It's absolutely fake. So I'm still in school, so I can be as unprofessional as I want. You, as a college graduate, have to be professional.
I will be going back to school.
Ah, true.
Education.
Wow, we're both dumb. Gee whiz.
1 degree, not enough for us to
Ain't
make
it?
it in the world.
God, we're stupid. All right, we are coming down. We have Frida from Arizona taking on Centripetal Force from Minnesota. 2 blockers in the box for Arizona, 1 blocker in the box for Minnesota.
And we had 3 lanes open on the inside for Centripetal Force.
She
to
took it.
zoom on by.
She took it. We've got Frida fighting at the top. Centripetal Force is through for 4 points. Frida fighting in the back does have that cap off. Unfortunately, it does look like Frida is headed to the penalty box.
The period clock has expired, we are running on
We're running on
hardcore
fumes.
jam vibes.
And that is Trippy through for another 4 points, bringing her score 8 for the jam. We've got another whistle being blown, so we will see someone else head to the penalty box. Trippy coming up against that tough Arizona tripod. Ooh, where are we going? We're
Looks
going
like
back in time.
Minnesota is going to attempt to score as many points as they can before this game has come to its conclusion.
That is the point of the game, I hear. If you want.
Sports, it makes sense.
You sport. Oh, excellent hit out by number 7 from Arizona, Skady Katie, forcing Trippy to take a trip back in time. We're going back behind turn 3,
it's
folks.
a trip.
It is a trip.
She's
Pack a
still
bag.
traveling.
Still traveling. Oh, man. All right, we have Frida fighting at the top as back from the penalty box. Cap
and
on.
a take
Hard
by
hit.
Mako, 62 of Arizona.
We have Frida out on her initial pass. Trippy
And
is
a
being
hit
told
out.
to call it off. This will be our unofficial score, 144 Minnesota, 75 Arizona. It is not done until that final whistle blows.
Oh, 147.
All right, I was getting there. Oh,
Just trying to help.
147 to 75. Is that better? Does that help you?
and with that, we have our final score, 147-75.
In favor of Minnesota Roller Derby.
Very true.